Bawku is back in the news. The IGP is right there and hoping that at least in the next 3 days, there will be peace. Homes have been touched. This Bawku crisis, when will it end? The president assures that Otumfuo Osei II will resume his process there. Hopefully, that should bring an end to the crisis. But will it? These suspicious flights to probe or to prosecute. What's the state interest now? Get information to do the investigation if there's need, or to prosecute the whistleblower, according to the NPP. He's a whistleblower and he's being intimidated. Is the government seeking to prosecute him or to investigate the matter? Chinese involved in Galamsey are to be deported. Immediately they are arrested. They will not be prosecuted. What a backtracking. What informs this decision? We'll be right back to deal with the vexed matters. I'm Samson, Lardy, Anyenini, and this is Newsfile. It is your most authoritative news analysis platform. We'll be right back. Welcome back. And here is Samson's take. It's a simple question. Professor Samuel Kobina-Ennine removed, the government statistician. So I'm trying to figure out, to understand how our politicians understand what our democracy is in the first place. Yes, I thought that it was an opportunity to assemble the best that we have, the best amongst us, to do the job. This government statistician who came onto the job, associate professor teaching at the university, has demonstrated to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that statistics can be sexy. He has made us enjoy statistics. And at certain points, made us feel that even when you are the government statistician appointed by the government whose regime you are within, you can deal with statistics that the government is uncomfortable with. Yes, that has been his mark. Statistics with integrity is what we have seen. And he's churned them out to help development without regard to tailoring it to please the government in place, the government that appointed him. What at all informs his removal? Mr. President, on the back of the recent dismissals, some of which are clearly without any justification, how can you justify the removal of Professor Samuel Kobina-Ennine? Well, looks like this is what our politicians understand the democracy to be. That when they win, it's spoils of victory, and it is for party. You remember Mawena Domo Treba. She was appointed the first woman to head the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. And she did excellent, that members of the public could testify to. And yet, in 2017, she was removed. I sat here wondering, asking the same question I'm asking today. So what is wrong with our politicians? That's all the question I'm asking this morning. And just by way of some notes, if you have seen a news card flying around that suggests that Samson has been paid by NPP to bring up a false scandal about dismissals from the Ghana Today. That news card, completely false. It's disinformation and misinformation. Don't circulate it. And yes, I'm aware you have become aware of an audio around that also suggests that I've done something untoward. Thank you to all of you who have shared that audio with me, and for those of you who are urging me to take action on it. And I say, yes, I take a serious view of the outright fabrications in that broadcast of Monday, April 7, 2025, and its republications. In my years of practicing journalism and law, I have never once engaged in any such serious breaches and criminal conduct. Be rest assured that I will offer Mr. Kwame Bawku and his enablers a chance at law to prove the allegations that they have made. I appreciate your concern. I've seen that some of those who published it have started taking the publication down, but we'll deal with it. I'm Samson Lardy Anyenini, and this is my take. We'll be right back with my guest. You're welcome back. This is Newsfile, it's your most authoritative news analysis platform, and here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. Now, my guests are seated right here in the studio with one joining us via Zoom. We are looking quickly at the matters arising in Bawku, the unending, protracted, prolonged, and if you check in the history books, Bawku will be there 20 years ago. You will still read about the things that are happening today. When will it end? Here in the studio, Susan Eduamankwa is Executive Secretary, the National Interest Movement. Thank you for making time to join us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Great. Also, here in the studio, Andrew Ejapa Mensah is former MP, 2nd D constituency, and former Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture. He also had the Energy Ministry. Kofi Bento, Senior Vice President, Imani Africa. I call him Rebel. Yeah, a true rebel. James Agalga is Chairman, Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. He was former Deputy Minister of the Interior. And we will have joining us on Zoom the Upper East Regional Minister, Akamoriri Donatus Atanga. But before he joins us, very briefly, let's see what attended to the IGP when he went to Bawku yesterday. Watch that. And the Minority Defense and Interior Committee also have some concerns about how this government is handling this situation, contrary to the way they promised that they would deal with it swiftly.
IGP's visit is rather going to create more problems than good. To say that lay down your tools, and that if you lay down your tools, we will consider you for recruitment, it's something that one cannot understand. Why should people, I mean, yes, it is important in order to de-escalate the situation in the Bawku enclave, it is important that we get all parties involved to lay down their tools. But for me, it will be absurd to recruit people into the security services based on the fact that they've laid down their tools. What it means, that if you do not even meet the criteria to be recruited into the security service, you will be recruited into the security service because you have laid down your tool. That obviously is not the way to go. It is important that we deal with the Bawku issue once and for all. I mean, if we all know the sensitivities surrounding the Bawku issue, so if we are not careful and then one ethnic group lay down tools and then they are recruited into the security services, we all know the chaos this is going to create for the nation. It is simply not the way to go.
Thank you very much. So, my guests on the table are really itching to speak now, but let me go to the regional minister. Thanks for joining us, sir.
Thank you, and good morning to your panelists.
We don't understand what we saw. The IGP came there pleading with the people. He was literally just begging them that they should give peace a chance, even went to the extent of assuring them that if they gave peace a chance, at least in the next 3 days that he will be there, they were going to make sure that they will be giving priority in recruitment to police. And all he gets is that they hoot at him in the manner they did. Yes, explain to us. You are there with your people. What is this?
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity. The IGP's proposal of recruiting them is not in response to what the people were interested in. The people were simply interested in peace and the resolution of their conflict. So the problem, they said for IGP so that comes down. But the issue is the people are looking for peace. They're looking for how to resolve their conflict. They did not necessarily talk about lack of employment. So because that was not something that they were immediately interested in, they were immediately interested in the resolution of the case where they will have peace in their area. So lay down their tools fine, and then if you want to connect it to giving them job, I do not think that was something that the people were really looking for immediately. That was why they did not cease the noise.
So they were hooting at the IGP for suggesting to them that if they gave peace a chance, at least for police recruitment, there'll be some priority for the people there, the youth there. Is that it?
No, the issue was that the people, they thought that the security agencies did not handle their matter well. So once the IGP was coming, they were welcoming him with that noise because of the fact that they thought his men on the ground did not handle the matter well. And that was why they were already angry. So they were hooting at him because they are perceived unfairness that they keep from the hands of people. And so it is not about just the employment, but it is about how to handle the peace in the area. And that's why
they have been fighting. They have been fighting for years now. We have the recurrence on and again. And the police officers and the military that come there, they don't come there because they want to come there. We are aware of how banks, hospitals, all of them have left that place. So if these people come there to help, what would justify this kind of treatment?
Yeah, there's no amount of ways that you can use to convince anybody that it is necessary for the people to behave the way they behave. But they are dealing with a war situation and a conflict situation. and it depends on how the people perceive the action. You know, what triggered the issue was that they said the police are supporting the other faction for them to do commercial activities in a market created by them. And that was what they were resisting on. And so simply the matter is they are looking at it as if it is that for that particular action of the security agencies, they were not fair to them. That was why they were having the issue with the security agencies. Not necessarily that they said they didn't, for the past year, security was not doing well.
All right.
And in all aspects, they were not doing well. But particularly this exercise of escorting the other people in the market that has been created by them is something that they did not agree. And they said there were two issues. One was that when the people are not in agreement and then they come to market, any little thing can spark problem. So they do not want mangling until the matter is resolved.
Okay, help me understand this. Minister, help me understand this. Hello, Minister. So a new market has been created. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
By the who? The Kusasis or the Mampusis?
The Zubran of the Kusa traditional area.
All right.
And the traditional council. They have created a market.
Right. And they do not want the Mampusis to come to this market. Is that it?
Exactly. So according to them, the traditional council is of the view that the Mampusis are in the town, the original market, where we have the Bawku market, the original market. They are there. And so the Kusasis cannot attend that market. And for that matter, they have decided to also create their own market at the suburbs.
Okay.
And for that matter, they were not interested in the Mampusi coming until the matter is resolved.
Is this what has triggered the new violence?
Yes, this is what has triggered the confusion between the police and the youth. That is why you see that the police installations or whatever were attacked. Because the youth were of the view that the police should not be assisting the
I get that. I get that. So
putting them into their market, and that's why they were having problems with the police.
I get that. Tell me why they went to burn the houses, Mahama Yarega, the majority leader's place, and also the police's quarters. Well,
from my interaction with the various groupings there, the people are thinking that we haven't been fast enough in resolving the matter. And they thought that by now the matter should have been resolved so that they can live at peace. And once the matter is not resolved, anybody who is in leadership position probably has not played his role well. And that is why the matter has not been resolved. So it is not necessarily only Mama Ayerka, but it is also anybody who has a hand to play in resolving the matter. The people are getting angry with the leadership.
So their strategy is that
for not resolving the matter quickly.
Their strategy is that they will spot the homes of influential people who can help to bring peace and who they think are not doing enough, and set those their homes and properties alight. Is that their strategy?
Well, I cannot, and I'm not part of them, so I wouldn't know the strategy. What I'm only picking on the ground as a leader is that they are complaining that we are not doing enough, because they explained that we needed to be fast so that we can resolve the matter. We are giving them curfews. They are suffering under the heat and all that. And this time around, the upper east, the weather is very hot. So when you give them curfews, they cannot roam freely and all that. And so they expected that all leadership should have put their hands on deck and try to see how we can resolve the matter. Once we have not resolved the matter, they see us to be part of the problem.
How are you resolving it now? Or as far as you are concerned, the IGP is there. President Mahama has also said that he's spoken to Otumfuo, who says he's away, and in the next 2 weeks or so, he'll be back and they'll reconvene meetings. So you are folding your arms and waiting for them?
Well, it is not about folding arms, but the issue is that, the Otumpo has been delegated to do the exercise. And then he's understanding all the issues and he's taking everything into consideration. Now that he says that he's away, probably he's finishing up with all the tactics that when he comes back, you engage them. But what we need to be doing right now is to continue to engage the leadership of the various areas or the various factions, and so that they can tone down while we wait for the 2 weeks for the Otumpo to come and do the full engagement with them to bring the final resolution of the matter. Okay, so those who went touching homes, this is a criminal conduct. Has anybody been arrested, or arresting people does not bode well for the peace process? So once again, people will be, free? Well, that aspect is handled by the security agencies. And while they are still on the field, we are yet to meet as a RESEC to find out what is the full report. And then when they come back, that is why we'll know whether they are picking the people who have gone to Ben. Whether that is provided they are able to identify them. And if it is not undercover and they are able to identify them, whether they will pick them up or not, then we will now engage to see whether picking them and then making sure that they are prosecuted will solve the problem, or how are we going to go about it? Because this is a conflict situation. But why? The conflict, we need the expertise to help us. Right. To direct us as to how we should go about the matter. Yes, but why will you even think about making a decision whether to arrest and deal with people who have committed a crime? Because you know that the impunity is what has continued this, process all this while without a solution. You are the head of the RECSEC. You are telling us today how many days after this violence and criminal conduct occurred that you don't even know who did anything. You are now going to have a meeting to decide if you can identify somebody and whether or not they should face the law? No, far from that. What I'm saying is that I'm not saying we are yet to decide on whether to arrest or not. You are asking me whether we are going to prosecute or because probably it will not help in the resolution in the conflict, we are going to set them free. And that is why I'm saying that those who have been arrested or those who are yet to be arrested, if they identify them, they will have effect that. Then we will not engage to find out how do we go about resolving the matter. That is what I mean. Has any arrest been made at all? Has any arrest been made at all? Some people were picked. How many? But I don't know whether that was related to the Bennett or... How many people were picked, sir? Well, I'm just getting the details of that. I don't want to give figures when I'm not taking full report on it. You are the head of the RECSEC. You were called when to prepare for this show, and you didn't think that it's important to at least know the number of people who have been arrested? I have been called. I've been called last night, and then I'm on the way coming back to town, and then I've gotten the IGP and the commander are on the field. So they are yet even to give me the report. They haven't provided the detailed report to me yet. All right. Thank you very much. We wish you the very best. It's a very delicate situation. We understand it is a very difficult thing, and we wish you the very best that as a new minister, you will bring your wisdom to bear to help resolve the problem. Kamunguri Donatus Atanga is the Upper East Regional Minister. What a difficult job he has. I don't know if I should ask the MP who is closest to the place first. What's happening?
Samson, I speak with a heavy heart. Samson, as you may be aware, I've lived in Bawku before. And so I know Bawku very well. In fact, the people in Bawku, I consider them as family. From both sides, the Kusasis and the Mamprusis, I attended school with most of them. This is a conflict which has been going on for ages. Now, all governments have dealt with this conflict before, but it appears there's no end in sight. Now, the NPP government dealt with the conflict up to a certain point when Otumfuo was engaged to mediate. And we trust in the wisdom of Otumfuo. He's mediated and actually brought finality to very difficult conflicts in this country before. The Dagbang chieftaincy conflict is a classical example.
Many, many years ago, the Domahine led the process that did what you are talking about, faith, and he concluded everything. But here, this is where we are.
Well, but we don't have to give up. We must not give up. Even in the case of Dagbang, the courts dealt with the matter. Several commissions were set up to bring finality to that particular conflict. It didn't work. But finally, it took the magic of the Otumfuo acting in concert with other renowned chiefs such as the Yagbongura and the Nairi to bring finality to that particular conflict. So I have hope that with effective mediation, we can find a lasting solution to the conflict in Bawku. The NDC government is very new. We are about 3 months old. Immediately, the president took over power. He visited the two feuding factions. He was in Nalirugu to engage with the Nairi. And now from Nalirugu, he proceeded to Bawku and had engagements with the Bawku Naba, appealed to both sides to, allow for the mediation, the non-kinetic approach to resolving that conflict to move on smoothly. And both sides pledged that, yes, they would allow the Otumfuo's mediation to happen. Samson, I can report to you that Otumfuo has already done some work. He's met with both sides, and further engagements would be held. And so, at this stage, I would appeal to my people in Bawku to exercise restraint, allow the security agencies to operate in a manner that can restore confidence.
They have never trusted the security agencies.
But it is important that trust is built.
They are always, in some conflict with the security agencies.
Yes, but it is important that trust is built between the people of Bawku and the security apparatus of our state. It's very important. And the security apparatus must also understand that they must act in a manner that can inspire confidence. They must be neutral in the way and manner they carry about their activities. So, Samson, we all have a role to play. The Bawku conflict is escalating. It didn't start with the NDC. Even when President Akufo-Addo was in office, the conflict escalated to the extent that the stretch between Bolga and Wali Wali became a no-go area. Even Binduri, also became a no-go area.
People were caught on the stretch there and shot.
And shot.
Yeah.
So
I know of somebody who went to bury his father, and on his way back, his car was attacked, and he was also shot.
Yes. So the conflict is not limited to Bawku. It has extended to the entire region, even as far as the northeast. And so now we have a national crisis on our hand. Okay. We need all to assist us to resolve the conflict. And so far, I think that the measures put in place by the government are laudable.
I'm giving you a bit more time because of your proximity, your involvement sort of with the people, because that's where you also come from. Now, you spoke about Yagbongura and the Nairi helping Otumfuo to resolve the Dagbang situation after decades. In the Bawku situation, the Otumfuo is working with who? Cannot work with these same people, correct? You would understand
that the Nairi is actually an interested party.
Correct.
And so the Nairi cannot be involved in the mediation process.
Because the Bawku Naba that was recently enskined by him is what the other group is unhappy about.
Yes.
He was actually chased out of the place somewhat, and then through a court process, he got himself back because he was being sought after to be arrested.
He was, customarily the Mampurushis enskinned their chiefs in Nalirugu.
Right.
So the enskinment actually took place in Nalirugu.
Right.
and that occasioned some round of resistance, and the
there was violence.
There was violence, and government's handling and approach at the time was widely condemned. But that is history now. The most important thing is that the Otumfuo has been tasked to mediate. The two factions have actually had some engagements with him. He's made some progress. We need to continue to support the Otumfuo to bring closure to the matter.
Okay.
Now, the people in Bawku, the Kusasis, are agitated, but I am appealing to them that it takes quite some time. When the Otumfuo is able to bring closure to the matter, some peace pact would have to be signed. The declarations would have to be outdoored, and we would all know where either side, stands.
Right.
So I'm appealing to them. It doesn't take a day or two to resolve such complex conflict situations. But I know that at the end of the day, justice will prevail and peace will return.
Thank you. It's taking too long, and we pray that it will not continue to, protract. Kofi, so Otumfuo has been mediating, not now. And in the course of the mediation, there has been, eruption of violence. Soldiers have gone there. Soldiers have been accused of doing some wrong. They've got into fights with them. Police have gone there. Police have gotten into trouble with them, and see what happened to the IGP.
Unfortunately, with all the respect I have for Otumfuo, I have to say this. He will not succeed. If anybody could succeed in this matter, he won't succeed. If anybody could succeed in this matter, he would have succeeded. He has that heft with which he can help resolve this matter. What is going on is basic. Look, if somebody believes they can get the best outcomes through the application of force, they won't negotiate. It's a basic rule in negotiation skills. If you believe you have what it takes to make your adversary do what you want, you will never negotiate. The only time people negotiate is when the negotiated outcome looks like a better outcome than what they can get by themselves, or looks like a cheaper outcome, all right? And there is simple reason for this mindset. The simple reason is this. What you have in Bawku is not a scuffle or disagreement that mediation, negotiation, reasoning, and such stuff will resolve. And we've been doing that for many years. It's been failing. We keep doing the same things. It's been failing. I say here and now, the Bawku situation is not a police situation. It is not something for keeping law and order. In fact, the Minister Justice says, he used the word, it's a war situation. The Bawku situation has gone beyond police. This is what the military do. What the military are trained to do is to take territory, hold it, and impose peace. If police could do this, they would have done it. In fact, I heard that the IGP's car was shot at. All right? Now, what you showed, you saw unarmed, angry young men confronting the IGP with armed men surrounding him. If you give those guys sticks, they will fight. So, one, Bawku has gone beyond mediation. It has gone beyond policing. It is a military situation. They are firing guns. What do we need to see again? If the Asantehene can resolve this matter after all this trying, what do we want again? The people then say it's a war situation. And we have an army sitting in Accra. Of course, I know they have a unit in Bawku. Make Bawku an army responsibility. Tell the Ghana army that if you are preparing to go to war with the rest of the world or whatever, what we are asking you to do for us now is to take Bawku, hold it, and impose peace. And let me tell you what will happen. If they do that, then the people of Bawku will notice that we can't get what we want by the force of arms and using violence. Then they will be more amenable to a negotiation. So, see, if the Ghana army cannot hold Bawku and impose peace, they are useless. We don't need them.
James will confirm to you, like any of his other friends who come from Bawku, and the military and all the intelligence people, that there is practically no home in Bawku where there are no guns.
Exactly.
Now, see this.
What situation?
We were told not long ago that actually there was some bomb that the people had to detonate against the military. And guess what? There was us against the military for being heavy-handed.
See, that's why it's a military operation. What you are saying is exactly what I'm saying. You have a situation where the people are even prepared to fight the military. And you think mediation will solve that? Listen, because we don't have to, I didn't want to go through all of it. Let me tell you, like I said,
there's no situation that talking can solve.
My brother, there are some, that's why I started with negotiation skills. You know what a partner is?
Yes.
Okay? Until you get to the point where you don't believe you can get what you want by force, you will never negotiate. So what you do in strategy, we say when you have a complex situation, you simplify. Right now, mediation, they are complex. Simplify. Take the land, hold it, and impose peace. Okay. Then you have a situation where now people realize that, look, we can't do anything. They will have to fight the military. And if they are prepared to fight the military, there's nothing you can do about that. And look, let's pray this thing doesn't degenerate. But I tell you, there are people in Abobloshi who respond to what is going on in Bawku. We all pray it doesn't degenerate. There are people in Burkina who would be happy to recruit these people as rebels. There are people in northern Nigeria who are looking to infiltrate Ghana. And I'm speaking from certain other meetings that I've been in. So somehow God is holding us together. We need to hold and squash this Bawku thing quickly before it degenerates to something else that we can't handle.
Okay.
My basic point is Bawku is not a mediation issue. It is not a policing issue. It is a military issue. And I think the Ghana army is capable of doing it. If they are not capable of doing it, then we need to rethink our army.
Susan, he says, you know, negotiation has failed, really. And he talks about what we call partner in negotiations, which is the best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Actually, is what works for you, the most favorable part that you want, and you get it through a negotiation. You put that first in your negotiation. All of them, both sides, want to have a Bawku Naba. This is the bottom line. And the issue is that we cannot have two chiefs. When two rams drink from the same bucket, they will lock horns.
Okay, so good morning once again. I beg to disagree with him. Peace is not a sudden event. It's not a destination. It's a journey. And it takes time, it takes effort, it takes commitment. And it obviously, both sides have to feel that there is something to gain by peace. I believe that both the Mampusis and the Kusasis at a point in time will see that there is something to gain by peace, because Bawku has not grown. My boss used to work at the Presby Hospital,
right.
and the Presby Hospital now is a pale shadow of itself. There are no banks there, as you said. Education is affected. The young people there, they have no jobs, etc., etc. I mean, my understanding was that peace by force was trying to happen, because what there's a market at the center, as the regional minister said.
So the Kusasis have created their own market.
Yes, because it was understood that market was, the Mampusis were more in that market, and the Mampusis have not been given land by the Kusasis to farm. So when the Mampusis feel starved or whatever, because the Kusasis are using starvation as a weapon, you understand? They go and they rustle the market, and they beat the Kusasi women up and take their things, you know. So that market was not working well for the Kusasis. And that's why they built the market on the Kusasi side. Apparently, the police said that they were going to force integration. And so they bussed Mampusi women to the market to enforce integration. And it is what in that scuffle that over-enthusiastic police man shot one of them, apparently the leader of the youth. And that has sparked this present thing. So you cannot enforce peace. You cannot push the peace. I understand that one of the rumors that was going round was that the member of parliament whose house was burnt, Honorable Ayaga, had been partial to the idea of the integration of the market. And so that's, in that anger is why his house was burnt, you know, because obviously he being both a Kusasi
This is partial or passive to the idea of the new market? Was he partial or passive?
The rumor was that he was partial to the integration of the market. Okay. Because he happens to be both, I understand his mother is a Mampusi and his
yeah, they have intermarried. A lot of intermarriage.
I mean, there's a lot of that. So, in that partiality, you know, and of course, during in situations like this, and this
in
anger,
that alleged partiality,
in that alleged partiality, in that anger and everything, obviously, you will find there are always rogue elements in such situations who sway people and say, you see, let's go burn his house, and people will follow. So we cannot enforce the peace, but you know, and peace is not the absence of conflict. It's a state of harmony, of justice, and of calmness. And so getting the military to go there and enforce it does not necessarily mean that there is peace. We need to go to the roots of the matter.
The minister says this is war. They themselves actually use the term war.
No, but it is a war. I mean, why else were the Kusasi
How do you resolve the war?
Starvation?
How do you end the war?
No, but because you need both to look that they are susceptible to the deprivation and that they will both benefit if Bawku develop. You understand? Of course, I mean, the Asantehene, he's going there because he knows the roots and he knows, you know, the way royals talk, you know, they have a certain understanding of how certain words have weight and have, you understand.
Enormous respect for him.
There's enormous respect for him. And I'm sure there are other people too that people have enormous respect for both the Kusasis and who can join him in this. I don't think that we should expect that they wave a magic wand, he waves a magic wand, and he has to work for that peace. He has to make sure that getting to the roots of it. And so it's not going to happen in one day. We would want the young people to tone down. Why not? Because they are the ones who will also be the victims if they don't tone down. I mean, I know that we look at the statement of the IGP and we are like, he shouldn't say this. You know, I can understand where he's coming from in some ways, even though I disagree with the statement.
He has explained, just a second, he has explained that what he means is that recruitments have been centered in Accra and Kumasi. But this time round, they are going to, as it were, localize it to places like Bawku. And the residents of Bawku, the youth, will be giving priority, not that whether you are qualified or not, you'll be taken. You'll be screened.
No, but you see, but this is not the statement to make at that time. Because the issue is that the perception was that during the MPP time, a lot of Mampusis were recruited into the security services. So when you make that statement, it is as if you're trying to balance it, that now you're going to have Kusasis being recruited into the security agencies. So, I can take his explanation that he's given, but there are certain things that are prudent to say at a certain time and are not prudent to say at a certain time. No matter how well-being, how well-meaning you intend to be, you
what shouldn't we give for peace in Bawku if it means giving the youth priority for police recruitment?
Is that the best? We should give a lot. And we have given a lot. I mean, I think it's expensive to even have the police there, to send the military there. It's expensive to have a section of your people in a nation not growing. It is expensive for us. You understand? Why should we have a place that has so much potential and yet is not growing? That is expensive for us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have to look at the pros and cons of what is more expensive and what is more long-term.
Thank you, Susan. And Ijapa, Susan began by saying Bawku has stagnated. If you have been to Bawku, and if you have been there for, like, within periods, when James was there, we were in Navasco together. I remember going to Bawku. I remember going to Bawku after university. I remember going back to Bawku in recent times, and nothing shows that it's a place where there's been progress. How are we going to get out of this?
Let me say good morning to our viewers and listeners on radio, and to my colleague panelists, and obviously to yourself. It's surprising to me that we are all dancing around the issue. I was surprised that Kofi, of all people, and Susan did not hit the nail on its head.
I didn't have time.
We've played political chaskele with this matter for many years. Not so? So why are we not addressing the issue? We all heard the promises that Mr. Mahama made during the campaign season to the people, and especially the youth of Bawku, that this matter gets escalated when the MPP is in government. They played the Baumia being the Mampusi against the Kusasis. We don't know this.
How about your side, the NPP?
Oh, so I'm saying political chaskele.
Okay.
James,
so you are equally guilty, you agree?
You see, look, Mr. Mahama is the president of this republic. His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, like James suggested, he was the one who actually got the Otumfuo involved in the resolution of this matter. He hasn't been successful as we speak. And I don't think that the military intervention necessarily is going to be the solution to this problem. The politicians should stay off. And let us work together. I cringe when matters of national importance, matters that border on the security of our country. We know the problems in the Sahel. Perish the thought that any of these leaders in those regions infiltrate and look to exploit the situation in Bawku.
The security have told us over time that they're already there.
There you go.
Yeah, because that is closest.
So please, I'm not from there. I'm not particularly knowledgeable with respect to the historical antecedents that has degenerated into what it is that is happening there. But certainly, I'm aware of the politicking that we have sought to exploit for our own expediency when it comes to these matters. And I think that it's about time that we call a spade, get the politicians to stay off. If the military have to go in to maintain some level of peace, so that the mediation that the revered Asante is working on can make progress. I believe that that's the way that we have to go.
Your minority group held a press conference, that was yesterday, and the major part of their point was that as not the part of the recruitment, which was addressed by your friend, what's the name? The other part addressed by Reverend Intimfojo was that the government is failing to deal with this. And so people are asking questions, but this has been there for a long time. A government which is done barely 3 months. What exactly is the point?
But of course, it was as a result of the promises that the president today made during the campaign trail. That this is a matter that can be resolved expeditiously, and that when he becomes president, he is going to resolve it as soon as possible. The reason why he went there when he became president, I believe in the first or second week. And so the expectation is that deal with it.
So that's a continuation of the politics that damages the opportunity to resolve, which you are concerned about.
I don't think so at all. It's the role of the minority to call on the president to do his job and to abide by the words that he himself had committed to. Okay? If you say that this is a problem that is an MPP problem that gets escalated when the MPP is in government, and that when they vote for you and you come in, you're going to resolve the problem, then 3 months is long enough for you to make sure that the problem is resolved.
Okay.
Yet, we have your IGP going there to make promises that really is really difficult to discuss on a platform like this.
Okay.
That you're going to recruit people when they lay down their arms and give them legitimate arms through the police service. It's unbelievable.
All right. Yes, Senor Hosi also joins us. Thank you for joining us. Senor Hosi is an economic policy analyst and a member of the One Ghana movement, also the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. One of the reasons he's here, because we are hearing things from this government that's completely contrary to what they promised to do with Galamsey. See, I was reporting in Kufuor's regime when Otumfuo was sitting on the Dagbon situation, and it was difficult. There were tensions. There were times all the people, including those who were negotiating, leading the process, got angry, and everybody had to disperse. Then they go around, get talked to, caucusing, then they come back. It took a long time. So it started with Kufuor, but it was in Akufo-Addo's regime that it was completed. Is it too early to be holding press conferences and say that, you know, Mohammed's regime should have resolved this?
I know Bawku. I've sold as a salesman in Bawku. My father did missionary work. We went to Bawku. We passed Nakmanduri. I know the area. So it's a sad story. But we can't also continue to condone this because it's a major security risk for the broader country. There's a lot of terrorist activities around the area. And there are a lot of conflict entrepreneurs who will continue to feed this conflict. This conflict is not going anywhere till some extra effort is put in place. I think that all the submissions here can be married for us to make progress. I wouldn't take his recommendations off.
Kofi's approach?
Not at all. I wouldn't take out Otumfuo's recommendation either. All the recommendations should be on the table. One, the state must make the whole Bawku understand. Ghana is bigger than Bawku. The activities in the past 20 years, I was there 21 years ago. I went there again 10 years ago and about 5 years ago. It doesn't make sense. A whole generation's life is being thrown away. The cost, and I think we should be asking the state to tell us how much it has cost us trying to resolve or manage the situation in Bawku. Juxtapose that with the development and the hope for the children in that area, and we'll see how senseless this conflict is evolving. If I were president, I'll still ask Otumfuo and whoever to mediate the matter, and I'll give it a timeline.
1 minute.
Timeline.
I will give it a timeline. We can't have this conversation in perpetuity. This region can actually cause a total civil conflict in our country. So let's stop taking it lightly. I would expect the MPP and the NDC for the first time to start rallying together, because this risk is bigger than their own,
votes.
What do you call it? Parochial and myopic interest. So I agree with him.
But the two tribes are divided within the two party lines.
There are people too are also. That's why when Mesa and his people, all right, and James and his people come together and tell everybody in one conference, in one speech, that not anymore. You either sit down and resolve this matter properly, or within a certain time, we are taking over this entire region.
1 second.
Nobody is going to own any land anymore. The state will have to appropriate it. We can't continue like this. We can't destroy the lives of the people there. It won't work. You have an option. Sit down and negotiate. Or the state will assume full ownership of the land and administration of the place. There will be no chieftaincy.
in that place anymore. Chieftaincy helps facilitate cultural harmony and development. It is not necessary for governance. Let's get it very clear. Chieftaincy is not necessary for governance. So if Yamau Chiami not say Wusi Wundia, there be a Yamau Hini not say Wusi Wundia, Chiami Po Babon. We can't continue this thing. James, I've been to his place. Chuchuga, you don't have any problem.
Do you think what you are saying is ever possible?
It is very possible. We always try to be nice and optimal and ideal about everything.
That's what the political leadership goes there to disband chieftaincy.
No, my brother, I'm telling no, please. We cannot continue fighting this war in perpetuity. The lives of the children who were there 20 years ago have been destroyed. It's a whole generation. Do we realize what we are doing? When you look at the cost of what we are doing today, you realize that what I'm telling you is actually the cheapest move to make. The first thing, these politicians should come together, take a position, and read the Riot Act to the entire people. Let them know that politics is no more thriving. Because what is at risk, Samson?
I don't think what you just said would be new, though.
No, it will
they
not
coming
be,
together
see,
and
it's not
seeming to agree.
You see, it's okay when there are certain things you can actually keep kicking the can, but at a point you have to pull the plug. For him to be here, you should not mess in his advocacy to tell us that it's a political chaskele. It means everybody is realizing that now we are all having enough. Where we are with Bawku, if a civil war would start, it will be triggered from that place. And when it starts, there'll be so much confusion. What business do we have killing people between the stretch of Waliwali and Boga because of what is happening in Bawku? It should tell you what is happening. You can't continue. All we need is another gold find, another major mineral find. Around the area, we are dead. People will own that place. There are spaces in here. Is it Dollar Town also? Even military sometimes struggles to manage. Please, I beg you, sit down, read, come to a consensus politically. And it has to be a hard one. This is the end of the road. This is the map. We want to avoid that hard end.
Okay,
Let's go the soft route and negotiate our way peacefully and create harmony. If you can't, we also as a country cannot continue to pump resources and destroy the lives of the people there. So we'll have to take the hard decision. You will kiss it all goodbye. You will kiss it all goodbye. We can't fight in perpetuity. Harmony must be realized by force or by negotiation. And it starts with the politicians.
Okay, Kofi wants to say
So I think there's been a little bit of misunderstanding when I say the military should go in, take the space, and then impose the peace. I don't mean the military should go and beat everybody and then take over the place.
How can everyone be having a gun in their rooms?
Militaries don't solve problems, but they have to take the space, impose the peace, and I agree with Senor. Look, we have in this country before, check Kwame Nkrumah's time, scrap chieftaincy, take over the land, and then let them talk. But whilst they are talking, if anybody gets out of line, you are dealt with by the military. Impose that martial law there. Let us understand that it is a country we are dealing with, and we can't allow one group. So I don't mean military don't solve any problem. But we cannot be trying to mediate when people are taking pot shots. So whether it's politicians who have to go together, whatever, first take the space, impose the peace. I agree with Senor. Let us de-gazette all the chiefs and let them know until we resolve this matter in a certain way, we will not bring you back. Why is it not possible?
Samson, do you realize the lives that have been destroyed in the last 20 years? People have not had an education. There's no access to health. There's no access to justice. And you think that it is in
fact, at the point the courts were closed down there.
And you think that it's cheaper than degazetting them.
Everybody, hold the peace.
I mean, there are also other ways that we can go about.
The things you guys are saying, the two politicians, they won't say anything about it.
You are making an assumption that NDC and MPP love this country so much that they will put aside their political things and sit together and say, that's an assumption.
So
I mean, you understand. Because it is a deep love for this country that will say that it doesn't matter what coloration I am. It's about Ghana first, Ghana last, Ghana always. And so if the parties... Let me finish. So that is your assumption, that they have that deep love for this country to put aside their political coloration and sit and go and do that. But I want to say, look, the Gazette, whatever, maybe it will bring peace, maybe it will not. But we know that the Mampusis sent this thing to court, and the court ruled against them and then said that the Bawku Naba presently should be the one who is there. Then we know what has happened in between that time and now, because that was Kufuor's time, wasn't it? The Supreme Court case that effectively said that the Bawku Naba should be the chief there. In recent times, and you yourself alluded, the chief was enskinned in Narurugu, where it usually should happen, and then there was a warrant for his arrest. Getting towards the end of the election, this warrant was pulled out, and this man was sneaked in there, causing problems. And it is all because of the politicians. You understand? But I believe that there is another way also. Should we not enforce development on them? You send the military there, I agree with you, send the military there and build schools. Send the military there and build hospitals. Let the people realize that. You understand? If you cannot force them to do it, we will force you to be developed. We will build a city here, burn it down, and let's see. And I mean, I think that there are ways and means of going about it. Maybe we need to reverse our thinking.
Interesting.
You understand?
Interesting, but two quick points. I think, as you refer to, there was a warrant for the arrest of the chief who was installed or enskinned to the disagreement of the other party as a Bawku Naba, which brings in the Nairi as an interested party, and for which he cannot be part of the process going forward to resolve by the Otumfuo. But that arrest warrant was eventually set aside by the Court of Appeal as one that was issued wrongly. But I understand that after that was set aside by the Court of Appeal, a fresh search and arrest warrant was issued by the High Court on the 29th of October 2024 for the arrest of the new Bawku Naba, and nobody appears to want to execute the search and arrest warrant. It's not like in Tim Fojo's house, you can't just go there. This place, the people who want to go there, they just can't go there. All right, so this is where we take a break. We'll return to now ask the question whether the government's interest now is to prosecute the whistleblower, which the MPP says is intimidation, which must stop, or they are looking for him so that he will give evidence of cocaine and money. We'll be right back.
The Ghana Armed Forces is engaged in several theaters to maintain peace and security in our nation. One major flashpoint continues to be the Bawku area. Only 2 days ago, an incident in a marketplace triggered an unfortunate loss of lives and criminal vandalism of property. I wish to emphasize that nobody gains from this situation of conflict and insecurity. We have triggered the Otumfuo mediation process, which saw all stakeholders participate in discussions in Kumasi on a roadmap towards peace. I'm assured by the Asantehene that the process will resume next week when he returns from his brief visit abroad.
You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform, and here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. And okay, so looking forward to share your comments with the rest of the world. Alhaj Suleiman says that I agree entirely with Kofi Bento. There's need to be use of a mighty military hand, mighty military hand in Bawku, because for the more than, it's sexy, isn't it? For the more than, no. Can I read my messages? Micro, that's disabled.
This is micro.
They are mighty. They've stopped the whole national security from arresting one person. Please.
We don't know that.
They are mighty. It says, I agree entirely with Kofi Bento. There's need to be the use of a mighty military hand in Bawku because for more than 100 years, negotiations have failed woefully. There is no way peace in Bawku can be achieved through negotiations looking at the antecedents. Dropping a military hammer in is the option that has not been properly explored because all politicians try to be diplomatic about the issue. This is from Alhaj Suleiman, and I suppose he clearly has deep understanding of what he's talking about. Nana Ekwamwa Boateng in Ablekuma Central says, I completely disagree with Susan Amankwa that government should force development on the people of Bawku. There is police station built by the state, yet when the people got angry, they burned it down. And even the residence of police commander and some police quarters. What makes you think if government builds schools and hospitals, they will not be burned in similar fashion? Samuel Brian Boabing says that. Samuel Brian Boabing says that.
To be neutral.
What were the findings of the 1957 Committee of Inquiry set by the colonial governor, Lord Listowel, which were upheld and confirmed by the Court of Appeal in 1958? The politicians fueling this are merchants of war. They are benefiting immensely from the senseless conflict. I don't see what kind of benefit anybody will be getting from, people killing each other for such a long time. Now let's go to the matter of the drama that happened in the course of this week and ask a few questions. So as you are well aware, in the course of this week, a few things happened. And as we mentioned a while ago, the mighty minority were able to do something really impressive as far as they are concerned. And they said Reverend Tim Fojo is being intimidated and there shall be no intimidation. On April 1, Reverend Tim Fojo made allegations on behalf of the minority, held a press conference in Parliament about suspicious flight, 2 flights. The same April 1, President Mahama asked security bodies to cooperate with him so that he will provide information for the purposes of getting to the bottom of the allegations of cocaine and drug trafficking. On April 3, government spokesperson Felix Kwachi Ofosu gave an explanation in a video and attached some what he called evidence that the claims were entirely false and that there was not even a need to explain. On the same 3rd April, Reverend Tim Fojo returns to reject government's explanations, labeling them as fake. Then on the 4th of April, Felix grants an interview and warns that Reverend Tim Fojo will be arrested and made an example of for peddling false news, which is a crime under Section 208 of the Criminal and Other Offences Act. Then on the 6th of April, government releases a footage from the airport showing the inspections that were done on the aircraft and suggesting that nothing wrong was done. On the 7th of April, the NPP was supposed to have the disciplinary hearing for Adjoa Safo, and they rescheduled it, saying that they needed to do a press conference of sort about this particular situation. On the 8th of April, the Ghana Airports Company issued a statement confirming Felix's positions, completely denying the allegations as false. As we understand, one of the airport companies has also issued a statement to one of the media houses denying the allegations as completely false. Then on the 9th of April, that is when the theater came in. The NIB, National Investigations Bureau, attempted to arrest Reverend Tim Fojo at his residence, and the mighty minority were there to ensure it didn't happen. We're now being told that it was the leader, Afenyo Makin, who begged that he should be allowed to be the one to bring him the next day. Then the next day we are told they were not actually proceeding in that direction because processes have been triggered to the Speaker of Parliament so that he will be invited by the Speaker for the security agencies to deal with him in the House. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so why did you go to the MP's house shouting intimidation, which you will not allow? He's a whistleblower, he's being intimidated.
This is a country of laws. Yesterday, I listened to Kofi on, I believe it was on Joy News, right? And he made a point where I totally shared his views. I believe it was a morning show, Super Morning Show.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you were referring to last week's show.
Oh, yesterday
okay.
Morning.
Okay.
Morning show.
Because I've read Ntim Fordjo's press statement on critical security concerns by the Minority Caucus in Parliament on April 1st. Carefully. In fact, I've read it more than 3 times. And I'm still at pains to find the offense that is contained in the statement that he issued, pursuant to which the government is reacting in the manner that it is doing. Samson, you and I are lawyers. Arrest is governed by the Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act.
Correct.
1960, Act 30. And it is clear the mode and circumstances under which an arrest can be effected. And so, assuming without admitting that Ntim Fordjo has made any criminal or made any statement that borders on criminality, was the process that the so-called officials of state who went to his house to arrest him consistent with law? I don't know why.
Nitu said he questioned one of them, those who were hooded. Questioned one of them, and he said, "My face is a warrant."
What kind of lawlessness is this? You see, it's early days.
But on that small
one moment.
On that small point. On that small point. On the warrant. Well, the officer said he's a senior officer. Is he wrong?
And the circumstances under which a senior officer, the circumstances under which
need a warrant.
Wait. The circumstances under which a senior officer can effect an arrest was what took place in Ntim Fordjo's house. Was any crime being committed in his presence?
That's not the only circumstance.
See, and what other circumstance? Suspicion
Section
of
10.
Suspicion of commission
Section
of a
10.
crime. Was that what was happening in his house?
Perhaps.
How? You see, I get you. I get you. That as host of an important program such as this, you sometimes play the devil's advocate. Last week, listening to you, that was the sense that I got with a kind of posturing that your questions to Ntim seemed like. But I think you overdid it in the sense that he is not in a position to provide any evidence necessarily for a suspected act that has come to his information. Okay? And so for the police or the national security apparatus to raid his home in the manner that they did. Making a point, it's early days.
What's a raid?
It's early days.
What's a raid?
I hope and pray that Mr. Mahama's promise of a reset will not be one that is resetting Ghana into a military era. That's my hope and prayer. What did Intim Fojo do? He says, and the crux of his statement on the Airmed and Kavok Air private jet transporting suspected cocaine and cash. He says, reliable intelligence intercepted by the Minority Caucus indicates that on March 20th, 2025, Airmed flight N823 AM, which is an air ambulance designed specifically to carry patients, landed at KIA, Accra, Ghana, and remained in the country for 5 days before departing at 01 o'clock on March 25th. Back to Gran Canaria. Our intelligence further posits that no patient was transported by the said Airmed flight, neither to nor from Accra. There is no evidence of medical referral or patient accompanying or on board the flight on either legs of the flight. We are reliably informed that contrary to the expectation that the Airmed flight will carry patients, the purpose for which it was designed and operates, it rather on this occasion carried suspicious cargo suspected to be cocaine and cash in US dollars. So if a ranking member of the Parliamentary Committee on Defense and Intelligence, based on intelligence that he expects, makes a statement to this effect, what is the state intelligence agency supposed to do? Investigate the matter and come out to either confirm or refute the allegation that the MP has made. True or false? Yet, you hear the government spokesperson, Minister for Government Communication, saying that Intim Fojo is supposed to provide evidence. What evidence? Of actual cash and cocaine being sighted on the plane. He's not interested in an investigation that establishes whether indeed and in fact this flight came in with a patient or some organ on board, and that it wasn't cocaine that was on board or currency that was on board.
He has been told what the plane came with.
What did it come with?
You are not aware.
The Airmed. What did the Airmed come with?
It came with...
He tells us that the Airmed was from Luanda and had to stop in Accra for some reason.
So if I may finish my question before.
Please.
If I may finish my question before. He's making the allegation. He says he should be investigated.
Yes.
I've watched my show, that part. I've watched it like 3 times. I'm very proud I did it the way I did. Now here, you say, these are my suspicions and allegations. Investigate. Then the government comes and tells you, this is what happened. There is nothing untoward about it. You say, I disagree. What you are talking to me about is fake. What then do you do?
But that's not entirely what he said.
That's what he said.
Hold on. What the government's response was turns out to be inaccurate. Raises more questions than answers. So he should take it hook, line, sinker, that by reason of the fact that Felix says that the flight was from Luanda, when in fact publicly available data suggests that the flight went nowhere near Luanda, and that he had left Gran Canaria en route to Accra and had departed Accra back to Gran Canaria.
Can we focus on the cargo? Let's focus on the cargo. The cargo is the issue.
So what's the cargo? Hold on.
He's been explaining what the cargo is.
What was on the...
He says he doesn't agree to what is alleged to have been the cargo. So what should they do?
So what was on the flight? On the Airmed flight? Have you been told? It came empty from Gran Canaria to Accra without a patient, without any organ, without any medical related issue, flew all the way from what was the place that they came from? Santa Maria to Gran Canaria to Accra and back empty. What did he come here to do?
It's of no consequence.
You don't want to take the explanation.
What explanation?
I'm not going to repeat what they have said. You have heard it, but you just
all that they've said is that the flight had issues en route from Luanda and had to stop in Accra. It turns out that the flight went nowhere to Luanda. So what explanation are they giving? Say it again.
There were 2 flights.
Yeah, I'm talking of the Ahmed one. And we'll deal with the second one.
Which came from Luanda?
No. In fact, the flight that Felix makes reference to last had any activity on it in December 2024. 18 December. So what explanation have they given? Because I would have thought that the president's position that he took was what state security agencies were going to comply with. Investigate the matter, go to the airport, find out what cargo was on the plane, and come and tell Ghanaians that, well, we've gone to check. Indeed and in fact, it came with patient XYZ or John Doe, because we can't disclose the identity of the patient that was on the flight, or that he came with some organ, or that he came here to pick some patient out of Accra. When he got here, he had issues on the plane, and so they had to bring another one to come and change the ties and all that. But they haven't told us what cargo was on the Ahmed. And you say that because of that, he should forcefully be arrested to provide information to the state? Under what rule?
Assuming that there was no cargo, assuming that there was cargo, and I want us to get to the real thing, not about, you have raised legitimate questions about destination of one of them, where it has been or has not been. But let's come back to what the statement said, the cargo. Suspicious cargo, suspected to be cocaine and US dollars cash. He explains later, in varied currencies. Have you read what the airport company has issued?
I've read it.
Okay. So you still...
Which was issued 9 days after the allegations were made.
What does that change?
It doesn't change a lot. From the first, when this matter became topical, Ghana Airport Company did not find the need to provide information to state security.
So is it information you want? Is it information you want or what?
Until a government appointee went to sit on one of your sister stations to lambast the chief executive as being in cahoots with Intim Fojo, as being the one who had provided information to Intim Fojo to put out this statement, hence the statement from Ghana Airport Company. What are we talking about?
Intim Fojo said that. Wait. Just one second. Intim Fojo told me on this platform that if what Felix had said had been said by the Ghana Airport Company, he would take it because that is more believable. The Ghana Airport Company has issued a statement telling you all the allegations, the claims that were made are unfounded.
But you see, I'm even surprised that we are focusing on the suspected cargo.
Because that's the issue.
Because as far as I'm concerned, it's immaterial.
Really?
Certainly. Because it's of concern to me how an air ambulance will come into my jurisdiction with whatever was on board. And we as a country should not be concerned. Depart from a jurisdiction that is known for illicit drugs and money laundering to come into Accra as per the research that your own media house has done, that this flight flew from Gran Canaria into Accra and back. It wasn't as if it was en route to Burkina Faso or probably Angola and had issues and had to come to Ghana. Because in that case, the flight data information would indicate that this flight departed from Gran Canaria en route to Luanda, but had issues and stopped in Accra.
Do you agree?
That's not what the information, publicly available information data
do you agree?
discloses.
Do you agree that Intim Fojo's original press briefing did not include this new twist?
Which one?
And that the focus was on the cargo. And the focus indeed must be on the cargo. Whether there was cocaine,
Samson,
whether there was
read
money.
the text
No, let's not go back.
Because it's important that we
refer
to the text.
Let's not go back to it. We have done it over and again here. My question to you is that, so now, the people you want to give you explanations, including the company itself, have given the explanations.
But the explanation that they give itself says that flight detailing and some other things are within the purview of civil aviation. And so that satisfies you?
So
no, I want to know whether it satisfies me because I'm not satisfied.
So let me ask that question I asked last week again. What it means is that you know beyond suspicion.
That what?
And that in fact, you have evidence of wrongdoing.
We know that in fact, these two flights, especially the AirMed one that I'm focusing on, came into Ghana without any patient on board. What did they carry? We know that it did not come from Rwanda as the government spokesperson said. Why was it here?
Therefore, it carried cocaine.
But of course, it leaves it open.
Okay.
That it could carry anything, including bombs. Okay? So that's what I'm saying, that the content is immaterial as far as I'm concerned.
All right.
That if two suspicious flights come into Ghana.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me go to the next person. You have done 15 minutes
about
of
what
the time.
That is on board.
Thank you. You have done 15 minutes.
And as far as I'm concerned,
let me go to the next person. Thank
government has still not provided us with answers to that effect.
All right. Thank you very much. So,
you want the statement?
Susan, I'll come to you. I want to talk to the politicians first, because when we clear the politicians, we can get you guys to look at the issues, because they can decide to ignore certain points. Yeah. Please. How do you answer to what is being said now? And I asked that question of Sami Jemfi last week. That really, are there not suspicions? And are the suspicions not reasonable? That the circumstances they talk about, and now the new things we are being told about, you know, about flight coming direct and not going anywhere before and so on. Yeah.
Samson, this matter is simple. It is not complicated at all. Honorable Ntim Fojo is my ranking member. He serves on the Defense and Interior Committee. And on that committee, it is not business as usual. You don't just go out there and make allegations against the national security apparatus when you haven't established anything. But Samson, what is most important is that that committee is one which deserves...
Show me where it is.
Oh, Mesa, please, when we were talking, I was calm and quiet. So let me make my point. Your ranking member had every opportunity under the sun to have called for a meeting with the security agencies of our state. And he's done that before.
I want to know the rule.
He's done that before. You have been a member of parliament before.
Certainly.
And you know how parliament...
How many press conferences did you hold through committees?
Those press conferences I addressed as
what are we talking about?
But did not make unfounded allegations bordered on crime.
Go ahead and make your point.
But your ranking member made allegations which border on crime. An opportunity was extended to him to assist state security to establish whether some crime had been committed or not. He made allegations bordering on money laundering, cocaine trafficking. These are very serious allegations. And as a ranking member, he knew he had the power to call for a meeting, an engagement with the security agencies. And you make all his inquiries, interrogate the issues. He didn't do that. He went straight to the media.
He did that the second day. He wrote a letter asking for the meeting.
After he had addressed a press conference.
That's correct.
And made the allegations.
What's wrong with that?
And the president called for
a probe. He says, what's wrong with that?
Well, everything is wrong with that, because you see, when you do that, you put the cart before the donkey. And previously, the same person had actually asked me to summon the Minister for Interior, Minister for Defense to respond to certain issues, and I did that, just that. But this time around, he elected to go to the media first. And when the security apparatus was asked to investigate the allegations he had made, the same person then chose to run to the committee, seek refuge under the committee. And I said, no, wait a minute. Go and assist the state security apparatus to investigate the allegations he had made, so that at a subsequent date, we would now invite the state security apparatus to appear before the committee and present before us
under what rule?
A comprehensive report on the outcome of his investigation.
I can't understand these things.
But you see, Mesa, let me remind you that parliaments select committees, and the Committee for Defense and Interior, for that matter, has not got the power and the competence to conduct criminal investigations. Your ranking member made allegations which bordered on the commission of crime. And so the appropriate institutions,
and so he can be compelled,
which would have investigated those allegations of crime were the ones
he can be compelled
that were
to
instructed to investigate.
Those allegations.
You see, Mesa, if your ranking member was not being malicious,
I can't understand.
No. You see, if your ranking member was not being malicious, why did he run away from going to assist the security agency?
But he's under no obligation to do so. That's the point that I'm making.
But you see, as
he's
a ranking
no
member,
obligation whatsoever.
As a ranking member who should be taken seriously.
What law enjoins him to make or assist the state security to investigate?
No law enjoins him. But
so why are you imposing that burden on him?
I
cannot understand.
I thought you guys said he's a whistleblower.
and the whistleblower is mandated by law to assist in investigation.
Samson.
Okay, sorry.
It's you invoke your power as the host
please go on.
to rein in Mercy and allow me to make my point.
It's all right.
You see, we are talking about the ranking member. The ranking member of the Defense and Interior Committee.
What's special about that?
Oh, Mesa.
Close them down, let's talk.
Mesa, don't do this again. Mesa, don't do this again.
Mesa, you are talking to the Ghanaians, the Ghanaian public. You are saying that after making those spurious allegations, it was not obligatory for him to assist the state institutions which have the power to investigate such matters, to draw conclusions. Is that what you are saying? If that is your argument, then I'm suggesting to you that your ranking member was malicious when he made that press conference. He didn't have his facts right, and subsequent exposés have shown that he didn't even have his facts right. I mean, he sat down, concocted the story, and threw it at the state. And the president said, no, you know what, these are serious allegations. I won't let it pass. We must investigate. We must get to the bottom of these allegations. Go and assist the state to unravel all the mysteries surrounding the so-called aircraft which landed with that cargo, as you put it. You said you wouldn't go. If you wouldn't go, then clearly you are within the realm of what? Publishing false information, and that is criminal. Which takes me to the argument you made that the mode of arrest was not in tandem with law. How is it not in tandem with law?
First, he's an MP, and they've told us over and again that you must resort to Article 117, which says that an MP cannot be arrested and so on and so forth. In Tim Fojo himself says,
Samson,
if he's in his constituency doing anything,
Samson, he was not in his constituency. He was in his home.
Okay.
What does Article 117 of the Constitution say? It's very clear. It says civil or criminal processes coming from any court or place out of parliament shall not be served. It talks about service. But 115 clothes members with immunity, right? And I think 116 talks about immunity from proceedings for acts in parliament. Now, the fundamental point we're making here is that he may have addressed the press conference in parliament, but given the nature of the allegations he made, shouldn't he have assisted voluntarily? Remember that going to assist the BNI to investigate a matter doesn't make you a suspect.
He says he has no obligation to do so.
But that is irresponsible, given the nature of the allegations he made. That is the height of irresponsibility. It means he was being malicious. That is why we're saying that your ranking member got it wrong. Bobo, he didn't do well at all. The mode of arrest was clearly in consonance with the law. It is very clear. And Samson section 10.2a of Act 30, he made reference to Act 10.2a, but deliberately refused to read the content of Act 10.2a. It's very clear, section 10, it says that a senior officer can arrest upon reasonable suspicion that a crime has been committed. Yes. Given the overall conduct of your ranking member, the Honorable Intim Fojo, his refusal to assist with the investigation of the allegations he himself had made, any reasonable mind should draw the conclusion that no. I mean, he had committed the offense of publishing false information. And that is why the senior officer went there and said, look, I didn't need the warrant to effect any arrest. So which of these provisions have been breached? Okay. Honorable Mesa, which of these provisions? Okay. But Samson, let me address one thing. The government spokesperson, the minister responsible for government's communication, was constrained to release some information, which was proper. He did that because of the behavior of Intim Fojo. Even after the initial press conference had been made, Honorable Felix Kwachi addressed the media and said, look, some investigation had been done. And remember that there is a security coordinator at the airport. They compiled a comprehensive report and attached even pictorial evidence of all the checks they had carried in respect of the 2 aircraft which landed in this country, right? He has the report, pictorial evidence of the aircraft being inspected and all that by all the relevant agencies. You wanted the government spokesperson to have kept quiet and allow Intim Fojo to run amok with those spurious allegations. That is why he was constrained to release some of the information he put out there, so that at least the public deserves to know what was actually happening. The man tagged us with a certain bad reputation that under President Mahama, the narco trade was beginning to flourish. I mean, he's superintending over money laundering and all that. You don't do that and get away with it, especially when the allegations are false. So government spokesperson in those circumstances was constrained to come out, at least release excerpts of some of the evidence they had uncovered.
Okay, so you hold on now. You've also done some 10 minutes. Let me go to Susan Eduamankwa. Now, okay. See, I don't know what you also think, that a person, as we have been told, is acting as a whistleblower and is blowing the whistle about wrongdoing. And last week I asked that question of the governance person, that what we are running is see something, say something. The guy has seen something. It is curious. And he's saying something. Why all of a sudden this approach? What do you think?
Okay. First, let me express my shock about something that Mr. Mesa said, that he has no obligation to assist the security services. As a citizen of this country, who has been voted for by people.
We are talking law.
And we are not talking law.
It's law.
You see, look, let me, can I, please,
what are we talking about?
Can I,
sorry.
I didn't interrupt.
Mr. Mesa, go ahead. Mesa, hold on. Mesa, but whilst you are thinking,
please offer me that.
Whilst you are thinking, take your mind to misprision of crime. Misprision of crime.
Misprision or crime.
Misprision of crime.
Please, can I talk? Look, if this country, we would focus more on ethics than law, we would move forward. We talk about law, you can have law without any ethics. You understand? We are so focused on law and so unethical, it's not even funny. You think that as somebody who has been voted for to be a representative of people, you have no moral obligation to assist the state in the welfare of the people. Look, if there were drugs in the case, that there were drugs on board, and those drugs have come into our system, it could be Mercer's child, it could be my child, it could be in Tim Forger's child, it could be any of us, our children, who will come across it and become an addict and be destroyed. You think that that is okay? And this is a person who says he's a reverend minister. But it is about law.
He takes an objection to
say
this is a person who.
But he's. I mean, fine. He has no moral obligation to assist in the welfare of this country if he believes that something is wrong. He doesn't have to go to the people. Look, I would have been okay if he had just said that there have been flights here, which is a fact, and that those flights came in a certain cloud. So it is suspicious. So please investigate this suspicious flight without necessarily going further to say that cocaine and this thing. When he says he's not interested in the cargo, we are interested in the cargo. You understand? Because he went ahead to say it had cash and it had and drugs. And that is a cause for concern. If he had said, look, I have come across these facts, and there's a fact that, and these facts can make it open for all sorts of things. So please go ahead and come and explain these facts to us. Because facts don't necessarily always make up the truth. Because facts can be twisted by people and arrive at a certain conclusion. We can all have facts here and arrive at different conclusions. You get it? So if he didn't have evidence of cocaine and of money, what was he talking about? Because we would reasonably think that he had gone further to say suspicious flights and had mentioned cocaine and money. And that makes all of us think that, there must be something more to it. I would have thought that being in the position that he is, look, he's no ordinary citizen of Ghana. That's why we pay them all the 70.
His lawyer says so. His lawyer says so with emphasis. Atachia says he is not an ordinary person.
Yes.
He is an MP and has privileges. If you want to deal with him, go through the speaker.
Yes.
Now, contrary to what Mensah is saying, what we have been told by the minority group has been that once the security officers will use the speaker's procedure, he will make himself available.
I'm talking about he is no ordinary person. So I can probably not walk and command the presence of the head of the NIBO or whatever. But he can. If he had those suspicions and it was not about grandstanding and about politics, he could have gone to the head of state. Look, this has come to my attention. We want you to do this. If I give you a certain time, if I'm not hearing for it, I will go public with it. That is the well-meaning Ghanaian. That is the well-meaning citizen. You understand? It is not about grandstanding and wanting to disgrace this country. Because, look, people sometimes forget that when we go out there, it doesn't matter whether you're NDC, MPP, MP, you are Ghanaian. You understand? And when things go out into the public and into the world, it is about you being Ghanaian. And they say, oh, we had that in your country. They do a lot of things, you use as a transit to say. It doesn't matter who is in power, whether it's NDC and PPP. Once they tag you that your country is saying, they profile you. That they don't profile us according to our political parties. They profile us according to our color, according to the country in which we come from, according to the region that we come from. That's how they profile us. So when you go out there and you think that you are doing it against your party and for your party and you want to grandstand, you do it against all of us who don't vote either NPP or NDC. You get it? Because when I go out there, they profile me. And they profile me for some of the things that go on and that are said about this country. And I think that all of us as politicians, we need to recognize this. Look, some of us feel that a lot of drug issues are a problem in this country. You know about red. I mean, the pharmaceutical industry, We read, you see the devastation that red has caused for young people. We definitely don't want the other drugs to come and add to it. We don't want to be used as a transit point. We don't want to be used as an end of the thing. And so it's important that the government takes hold of it. You get it. Any suspicion, yes. But when you say that you know, I mean, this and this, we expect that you have more than just hopping from station to station and grandstanding. That one, you know, and coming to supposed arrest, they went inside that room there, okay? I don't know. I haven't heard the other side. It's only his side said that they came to arrest them. Did the NIB actually say that they went there to arrest him? Because
what else would they have gone there to do?
No, I don't know.
They didn't have a warrant to search.
Well,
the chairman of the committee.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. Because, so seriously, so the NIB, they actually
and again, just hold on 1 second. Senor also said they didn't have a warrant to search. I think sometimes we have to be careful how we educate the public. You know, arrests have been made and searches have been done recently. And all you hear is that there was no warrant, there was no warrant. And we miseducate the people. And I was reading yesterday somebody saying that if anybody ever came to his house without a warrant, he would shoot them. Yeah. Please, that is not law. Our law allows search without warrant. Our law allows arrest without warrant, depending on the status of the officer who is doing it and depending on the circumstances of the suspicion of what is going on. So let's not allow any politician,
right?
Let's not allow any politician to lie to you that there must always be an arrest warrant, there must always be a search warrant. Yeah. It's incorrect. Yeah. Yes, please go.
So because coming from Afenyomaken, they stood down and they left. You understand? I am not for the Gestapo sort of thing that went on.
Who did?
Who did? It's terrible. It's unsightly. It's why? What is it to invoke fear? I mean, and when it was done at the Ayawaso, we all condemned it. You understand? We don't want that, and it gives me shivers because it makes me think that it is the political parties who have put in their members. Do you understand? And these members who are appearing, because I would think the security service, they try to use nondescript looking people as much as possible, who can easily mingle among people and not be taken. You understand? They don't do this show of this and do that Gestapo sort of thing. Real power is silent and menacing. You understand? The people could have gone in there quietly to speak to him and say, okay, we just want to inform you that we will be inviting you to come here, so maybe you should come with your lawyer and everything. So. They could have done that without all this show of, it's unnecessary, we condemn it.
You know, I asked the question.
I believe that it should not just be the NIB, all the security service should not operate.
I asked the question the last time, and Reverend has misreported me in some subsequent interviews that he had, that I said he should be arrested, he should be in jail. I never said that. If you play the whole tape, you won't hear any of that.
I'm your witness. You never.
He actually said, I said he should shut up. I never said so.
You never said
I said the government said, if
this
you don't have evidence, you should shut up. And he went to Paul Admochi's show and said things that I never said. In fact, the people who are following him, if they took the trouble to play back the tape, I think you will come and salute me. Now, here, the question to you. The question to you is
a man of the cloth. We expect better.
The question to you now is this, which I ask Ejapa Mensah. What should be the approach of the state now? Should it be to get him to help to investigate? Should it be investigated, or it should be targeted at him for having done what you call spreading false news?
Well, I think that the investigation, they should do the right thing. They should go by the book, and strictly by the book. And if it requires going through the speaker, etc., they should do it and invite him to come and give what intelligence that he and his minority caucus have. Mighty. micro. Is it mighty micro?
They don't like the micro. They like the mighty minority.
Okay, the mighty micro minority. Okay, have okay, because they said it is not just him. It's about the whole caucus. But he's the face of it, so he should come and give us that intelligence. When they do their what do you call it, research, and they do their findings, and they find out that he was lying and he was grandstanding. I think there's something about deceit of a public officer and causing fear and panic and all those things. They should find something in the book and throw at him. You understand? And do it in the manner such that any would-be politician who thinks that they can get up.
Kofi says he's a whistleblower. You don't do that to a whistleblower. Could you?
But I think that
the minority group, their position is that this is a whistleblower. So don't deal with that.
So the whole minority group who are whistleblowing, is that it? No, but either he is the whistleblower or the minority group are the whistleblowers. There has to be, and I think that whistleblowers to have criteria, don't say. The whistleblowers have, there's a definition of does he fit the definition of a whistleblower? Because, I mean, he has to fit the definition of a whistleblower. You get it? For us to know that he actually fits that definition so he can be categorized as a whistleblower. But I think that there were options to him, and he chose to use the press conference as an option. Some of us don't think that was prudent.
After the press conference, he sought to ask for a briefing.
Well, that should not have been the first option. The first option should have been to quietly do what he believed as a citizen. You understand?
This is an urgent matter. Will he not want to blow the whistle so that at least we could have impounded the cargo and stopped it, so that we don't come back later?
So the time that he was saying on the 25th of March and his first April was the thing sitting here with the cargo, where the airplane sitting here with the cargo.
Long gone.
They were long gone.
Okay.
You understand?
All right.
I mean, he was whistleblowing when he got the intelligence at the time that he got the intelligence.
Okay.
And if the flights hadn't left, then he should have done the quiet route of going to ensure
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Susan. And I'll keep Kofi waiting. He's been itching, and like Senyor Hosi too. But because he had a bite last week, want to hear any fresh perspective from Senyor Hosi?
Last though.
Right.
But,
no, let's hear you.
This is a very unnecessary problem. It's a very, very unnecessary problem. And I think that all parties over time would have agreed, even though they are not admitting it. But if you see their language, you see that it's all shaped. I took my time yesterday to speak to practically everybody, because I really needed to understand it. So we just put this thing into proper context. Communications are the heart of the entire thing. So I'll make my conclusions. Did in team Fojo have a basis to raise suspicion? He did. Very clearly, he did. 2, his modus operandi, was it optimal? In my opinion, absolutely not optimal. He's a member of the
Defense and Interior.
He had a lead. That lead he needed to follow through by engaging the security capos, summoning them, and all this, he's empowered to do so under Article 103 because of the role of Parliament and what the select committees do. As a citizen of the state, he has a duty to defend the good name of Ghana, to also pursue that which is good for the for the country. Under Article 41, he has a responsibility. So if he has something of material impact, drugs is no small issue. We are already dealing with opioid. Now we are talking about cocaine, we are talking about currency, we are talking about the challenges we are having with state capture. You don't want to have the drug cartel capture your state. You would have a stateless entity. So he has a reason. He has an obligation, a duty to bring the matter out. Public, I don't think that was the optimal time. And I think on reflection, we'll all come to that conclusion. No, that one, you are doing politics, which is okay. All right, I don't have a problem with that. When he
You are insisting he had an obligation. Mensah says he didn't have an obligation. Kofi agrees with him, he didn't have an obligation.
No, I say he had.
You are saying...
No, he has a duty.
Okay.
He has a duty. Article 41 is very clear. You have a duty as a citizen of the state. Besides collaborating with lawful law
to expose and combat corruption.
You have to do that.
That's what Article 41 says.
It's very clear, and it covers that. So I don't think he coming out was wrong. The thing is that for who he was, he should actually have exercised better discretion. I think that discretion would have been optimal going through his committee, summoning the people, and gathering more information. Now, the reason why I said he had basis is that when you speak to the security couples themselves, they admit that that particular plane was tagged. They had leads from their international counterparties. So when that plane landed in this country, the first thing they did was to go and address it as had been agreed with their counterparties. So that inspection and order had been done prior to all this matter coming out.
Is that not routine?
It's no routine. You don't go and inspect everything. NACOC doesn't go and inspect every private plane that goes here. That's not routine.
No, if you check the airport rules,
it is
if you check their rules,
it's not routine.
If you check their rules, you will know that the flights that are known to go back and forth, they do it maybe quarterly or so.
Yeah.
But for chartered flights that come in, if you go
this
in,
particular one,
and
this particular
with
one,
respect, I've been reading about it.
Yes.
They will do checks, and they have what they call first freedom of air, second freedom of air, third freedom of air, and all of them have a certain purpose.
I don't have information on the data on the level of frequency of that particular plane for it to escape a quota, do it every time.
And there was also customs.
Hold on, Samson.
There was customs.
No.
I've seen the customs documentation.
Hold on. The most important thing here is that the plane was tagged, meaning that government had been given a lead that there's suspicious activity with this particular plane. For which reason, if he, in Team Fojo, has some leaked information, some lead, he has every responsibility to bring the matter up. So I don't think we should begrudge him or fault him for trying to raise the matter. My only problem with him was the modus operandi. Now he goes out there. The president's action, we must admit, was optimal. He asked for an investigation to be undertaken. Team Fojo goes back and is now asking the committee to deal with the matter. I think that at that time, the train had left the station. And I respect the position of his chairman. Once there's an investigation that has been commissioned, we can't be summoning people and trying to interfere with that investigation. Let the investigation be completed. What I also didn't understand is why government communication was prejudicing, its communication was practically prejudicial to the outcome of the report. Even if Team Fojo went out there.
Prejudicial to what report?
An investigation is supposed to come out. But you now get government information, putting out facts on the matter, putting out videos. I don't think that was optimal.
They tell you that all government communication ends up with that minister. Just like the Ministry of Information will do. Hold on.
It's not
just hold on. Just hold on. So if the entities involved have brought the information and briefed the government spokesperson, and they come out to speak, how have they erred?
No. I say it's not optimal. You can have a right to do everything, just like Team Fojo could have gone to the press conference or could have worked with the committee to gather more information, deal with something more sensitively. It's the same thing. There's an investigation ongoing, commissioned by the president. When government starts talking about its outcome, what are you doing? You are actually prejudicing the entire process. And everybody involved will start even doubting the credibility of the process. But the truth of the matter is, the cargo on that particular plane is known by all the parties today. And everybody knows that there was no cocaine and there was no currency. Was there a reason for suspicion? There was. So anybody flagging it did not commit any crime. You understand? Flagging it was not a crime, just the modus operandi.
Please, I'm not sure everybody knows.
I will tell you why. When I say everybody,
if everybody knows, then this matter would have been put to rest.
Hold on. The reason why I'm saying everybody knows, I'm talking about the parties, the critical parties involved. I believe that Team Fojo knows. I believe that James knows. I believe that my brother outside the politics knows the facts of the matter. Now, outside of all this, did we really need to have that grandstanding trying to arrest the man? I think that our democracy has moved on. This showmanship was not necessary. It's not reflective of the tone of the president. It's not reflective of the maturity that we've attained. All we all needed to do, wait for the report, Should Intim Forger cooperate with the agency? I think the Article 41 is very clear about that. We are supposed to collaborate with our law enforcement agencies. You have something important, you should engage them. He would tell you that because of government's communication, he lost trust with the process. I can respect that to a certain extent. But today, I think this matter should be put to proper rest. All the key parties involved, Samson, I've told you, I've spoken to everybody. They know the full facts as of now.
Who is everybody?
I've mentioned the names. The security capos, the opposition, the ruling government, everybody knows the facts.
You haven't mentioned any names.
I've mentioned.
You haven't mentioned any name.
18 Forger is aware. James
He's aware.
is aware.
He's aware that there was no cocaine, there was
hold on.
There was no drugs.
I'm not saying. I say everybody knows that.
There was no money.
He is aware. James is aware. Mesa is informed. I won't say he's aware. He's informed.
That's what.
You are informed.
So, Senor.
Look.
So, Senor, listen. And I asked this question. I'll repeat it.
Yeah.
I asked the question. Imagine you or myself. We sat here and we got information that there's a suspicious flight at the Kotoka International Airport. And we say suspicious, it has cocaine or money in US dollars. Imagine we did that now.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll get out of this studio without being arrested?
I don't see why we should be arrested.
Why?
If we have reasonable information to put out there as regular citizens, I wouldn't do it on your station.
Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you do it? If there
because
I
have access to the security agencies and I can call anybody and tell them that, look, this is the information we have. Look into it. I can call James. 1, 2, 3, 4. We were all in school together. Why can't I call James? Why can't I call Mesa if he had the power to? He has to act on it. If he doesn't, then I take the next step. But in the case of Intim Forger, honestly, I don't think the intent was. It's politics that shaped a bit of the conversation. But he had legitimate reason to raise the suspicion. And let's all admit it. Even the state itself was notified that there's suspicious activity with this particular vessel. So if he brings it up, no problem. But I think the processes is all that.
What you are saying, the state itself is aware. We have not been told that yet.
So thank you. Let's wait for the report.
Let's hold it there.
Let's hold it there.
Thank you. I'm coming to Kofi. But, Senor, the reason I will not do that, if you had to do it on my show, I will stop you or issue a huge disclaimer, which disclaimer does not absolve me of liability, but may only minimize the liability, is, among others, Section 208 of our criminal law. It says, publication of false news with intent to cause fear and alarm to the public. Let me read. It says any person who publishes or reproduces any statement, rumor. So you've gotten a statement, rumor, or a report, which is likely to cause, not that it actually causes, likely to cause fear and alarm to the public or to disturb the public peace, knowing or having reason to believe that the statement, rumor, or report is false, is guilty of a misdemeanor. Now this way it continues. It is no defense to a charge under subsection 1 that the person charged did not know or did not have reason to believe that the statement, rumor, or report was false, unless he proves that prior to the publication, he took reasonable measures to verify the accuracy of the statement, rumor, or report.
No, you raised something. Just give me 30 seconds. Just 30 seconds.
Yes.
Everything you said, right on point. In his instance, if you have evidence or you have information that an international drug monitoring agency has tagged that vessel of the risk of these two things being in there, I mean, he has reasonable...
Is that what he has told you? Because he has not told anybody what you're saying.
I repeat, I'm not just talking to... I'm speaking to everybody.
Okay.
And I'm telling you...
All right, thank you.
The security agency...
Thank you, Senor, thank you.
It's Kofi's turn. They admit that vessel was...
Thank you.
Okay, but when they went in
it's Kofi's turn.
Nothing was there.
Thank you.
There was no drug in it. There was no evidence in it.
What extent
Thank you.
amount to fear and panic?
Thank you.
I agree with you.
How?
Fear and panic.
Thank you.
You know, it's just that you should...
This is completely applicable.
Mesa, I'm only saying, if you sat on this platform and did anything like that, I'll stop you.
That there is a suspected flight that carries cocaine.
Yes, I'll stop you. I won't let you say it on this platform.
Causes fear and panic.
I won't let you say it.
In the mind of who? Your friend?
Unless Unless you have shown me, unless you have shown me evidence
talking about
that this is real.
It did.
Yes,
If I showed you a cable
Okay.
wire.
I want to throw light on
30 seconds. I will hold you to it. 30 seconds.
Samson, let me throw light on the reasons why. I mean, it was imperative for Team Fojo to have cooperated with the security agencies in carrying out.
Quickly, you said 30 seconds.
Article 41 reads as
Yes,
follows.
exactly what I mentioned.
The exercise and enjoyment of rights and freedoms is inseparable from the performance of duties and obligations. And accordingly, it shall be the duty of every citizen to let me take you to straight away.
Straight up, that's
to
what-
cooperate with lawful agencies
Exactly.
in the maintenance of law and order.
Yes.
Please.
Agreed.
They say he has no obligation.
But of course, this particular article.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Kofi. Let's go to Kofi now.
That he has
So thank you. And in addition to this, gentlemen, in addition to this, the reason I ask Mercer to think about misprision of crime or misprision of felony is that it is actually a crime to know about a crime and not to report the crime. Yes,
I know that.
Thank you.
So please, you've given a lot of time. Allow me. I have two main things. First, to do the public education, and that's on principle, doesn't relate to this particularly. If there's time, I'll relate it to it, and also to clarify some things that I said in the beginning. We are responsible for what we say, not for the interpretations people give to them. So let's stay on what we say. To that extent, the law is the law, whether you agree with it or not. In the first place, I heard the president say that given the seriousness of what Reverend Ntimfodjo has said, the security agencies should cooperate with him to investigate and get to the bottom of it. How did cooperate with him translate to arrest him? The two are very different. Now, if Reverend Ntimfodjo was being asked politely to come and help investigate the actual issue, which is a national issue, Reverend Ntimfodjo under 41 has an obligation, moral and even in law, to cooperate to investigate the issue. But if the security agencies misconstrued what the president said, cooperate to get to the bottom of the matter, to mean arrest him, he has no obligation. He has every protection in law.
Is that how he began?
I beg you.
Is that how he began?
I beg you. I have laid my groundwork.
Yes, but I'm also asking you, is that how the issue began?
Listen, you see, you will let me break. I get that you have to moderate, but you have to let me land the point, and then you can take me on. I said the president issued an instruction, cooperate with them to investigate the issue. Does that not mean go and arrest him? And to the extent that you are attempting to arrest him, he has no obligation. Indeed, he has protections in the law.
That's where my question comes in, Kofi.
So the question is what?
Did they get up looking for him to arrest him?
So let me explain why it's a yes. Number one, a man's house is his castle. The law says that if you feel a threat to your place of abode, your house, people come there and they are trying to get into it. You don't know what their intentions are.
Did you hear the NIB?
Come on, let me answer your question.
Is it the NIB or the NACOP board?
Your job is to moderate.
No,
when you tackle me, I will lose the point.
We'll deal with
if I
facts.
make the point, you can talk.
I'll hold you to the facts.
Hold me to it, but let me finish the point. Let me finish the answer.
Said, is it NACOP or NIB? Actually on Joy News platform. So I must not allow this to go without saying what they said. That he has put them to a point where they have no option than to arrest him. Does that sound like they began by looking to arrest him?
When people in masks, wielding guns, come to your house, they are not coming to have dinner. And if you are a man and you are in your house and people come there under those circumstances, the law says you can shoot in your defense and in the defense of your property. So, if somebody wants to invite you to be part of an investigation, they don't come armed and in masks and breach your house without your permission. I think if they wanted to do what the president said and have him come and cooperate with them in the investigation. The proper thing would have been to pick a phone and call him, call his member of parliament, call his leader, call somebody, do it in a very polite way, like
again you force me to interrupt.
I'm talking about what happened in his house.
Again, you force me to interrupt. Because the sequence by the information we have is not accurate.
The sequence is that
they reach out to him. They reach out through his member of parliament. And then they were now told that you have to go through speaker. So it is not that they got up and went seeking to arrest him. It took how many days before?
You are still not defeating my point. See, so if you reach out to his member of parliament, his leader of parliament, his speaker, and whatever it is, and you didn't get him, so you should go and arrest him. Okay, you've decided that you are going to arrest him. Immediately you move to that point, you have crossed the cooperation line, and now you are seeking to arrest him. And this is why I say the public information is important. Our law says that if the state apparatus decides that you, Samson, or me, or anybody, has committed a crime for which he has to be arrested, the police have a right to arrest. And when they come to arrest you, let them arrest you and take you. You don't have to speak. You don't have to cooperate with them. If they arrest you, they can keep you for 48 hours. You don't have to say anything. So, if they simply wanted to arrest him, then they should go and effect an arrest. What they did was not that. Let me explain. The National Investigations System does not have a police force. They don't have an army, and the law does not allow them to have an army. They are supposed to use the existing security services and systems. Under IGP Dampare, every policeman will wear his name and his badge. He insisted on it. Before then, they used to take it off and that kind of thing. What I mean is there's a process for arrest. Please, you must come in your proper office. You're not an ordinary person, okay? And identify yourself. In fact, you can choose to do away with identifying yourself. But if you are requested, if the person asks you, who are you? You must say, I'm a policeman. What are you doing here? You must say, I'm coming to arrest you. And tell the person what charge you are arresting them under. You are required by law to do that. Now, if you do that, they are not obliged to say anything to you, to cooperate with you, or to help you in any way. The state and its systems have enough to array against you one person. They should determine what crime you have committed, what charge they are preferring against you, arrest you, and when they arrest you, even the statement that you sign in the police station, you are not supposed to sign it if you don't want to sign it. By law, you are not supposed to be forced to give any evidence whatsoever. And so they can keep you for 48 hours. You can choose to say nothing, and then when they take you to court, they have to prove that you have committed a crime. And let's declare this. The unavailability of evidence, the fact that you don't have evidence today, there, right now, does not mean the evidence is non-existent. And there are times when a whistleblower or somebody in possession of critical evidence necessarily, as a matter of common sense, must hold it until a certain particular point. So, I made the point, and I need to clarify it, that the requirement that you are entitled to defend your property and defend yourself, including the use of firearms, does not mean that people should be shooting police people. So I agree with you when you say that even if they don't have a warrant, hear them. But let us make this clear that it is anomalous, it is not proper, it is not right for state security, whether police, army, NIB, or anyone, to attack anybody's house with masked armed men. If you do that and the person takes that decision, it's unfortunate, but he has defense within law.
The Emil Short Committee with Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu and the former retired IGP, when they heard the Ayawaso West Wuogon matter, they instructed that the police that the national security keeps should be disbanded. We saw them at Ayawaso in these hoods.
Yes.
And so it means they've still not been disbanded. They are still there.
The point we need to make for public education, also to tell the politicians, they do it on both sides, is that national investigations don't have a police force. This attitude of recruiting nameless people, putting masks on them and having them go to attack people's house should stop. Because if you continue to do that, people will be forced to defend themselves. And I think Article 41 has been invoked. Let us be clear about this. Article 41 says that you have a responsibility to expose and combat. It does not include a responsibility to investigate crime. So, Intim Fodio was right to expose and combat me. I exposed and combated when I suspected that Chimota Forest was being sold. The fact that I didn't have evidence in my hand, in fact, what I had didn't constitute evidence, but it was very, very strong. Okay, does not mean the evidence did not exist. So, to the extent, let me finish. To the extent that you want Intim Fodio to be part of an investigation, it does not come from 41. That comes from one saying that, okay, the gentleman has some information which is useful.
Okay.
Then approach him in a certain way and let him be part of the investigation.
Yes, but
if you go, let me make my last point. If you go seeking to arrest him, you stop everything. Now, if the investigative authorities in this country, police, NIB, or whatever, do their work, it is for them to come and speak because the government is different from the state. Now, it is anomalous for the government spokesperson to come and speak to something that the investigative authorities are working on, because it is possible that somebody in government is in collusion. It is possible.
Okay.
So I think going forward, we should let the investigative authorities do their work.
Exactly.
And let them do it properly within law. Let the politicians take their hands off, and let us all work in a certain situation where we separate national interest from government interest, and make sure that, look, when people or things like this are happening, you're not giving me time, I've said a couple of other things, but it is very, very dangerous if somebody can land a plane in your country and let it stay here for a number of days and let it create this kind of confusion. Because if they can do that, there's so much more they can do. And a lot of the details that have been, some of the pictures that were shown were fake pictures. And some of the facts on the ground do not bear out the information that the government spokesperson came to tell us. That's a serious matter. That
you said some of the pictures were fake.
Yes, some of the pictures were
How did you confirm that?
You check it on Google and it shows you the source of
You have checked?
Yes.
So can you show us how one of those pictures is fake? Now? Because you have done that.
I am saying to you.
It's serious. It's a serious claim you're making.
I am saying to you that some of the pictures that were put out,
don't know about
somebody checked on Google and saw that it's a picture of that aeroplane tire or something. Saw that picture had been pulled from somewhere.
You have confirmed that.
Oh, Samson.
Kofi, I've got to do this job.
Let me make the point.
Kofi.
Oh, let me make the point.
You have been speaking for over 10 minutes now. Hold on.
People spoke for 50 minutes.
No, don't worry.
If I make the point, you can question me.
But when you say, let me make the point, you don't finish. So can I come in? Because I have to come in at a point.
I don't know what you're
Kofi,
questioning me on.
No, I'm questioning you on...
You
You say that some of the pictures shown by the government representing the airplane and the things that came with it are fake. I think you cannot say that and not show us your source or your basis for saying that.
I said many things. Now, I said for the government spokesperson to be the one speaking over an investigation that the state institution has done.
It's not completed.
Yeah, you see, that is where all these things has its problems. Let the state institution speak. Then I said some of the pictures that the government spokesperson supposedly put out, somebody checked on Google and came and said they saw that picture in a stock somewhere else. All right? So I'm saying when you create these kinds of situations, don't let the state institutions do those things. Then you are going to get this.
So you see, now you're explaining that somebody else... Wait, Kofi.
Okay.
I'm not stampeding you. I've got to do this job.
I hear you.
You are saying that somebody else checked one or some of the pictures and said and confirmed that it is fake. You yourself have not confirmed that for yourself.
No, I haven't.
Thank you. Because you see, when you made a statement, you didn't say somebody. You said some of the pictures are fake.
Okay. So,
right.
Look, I get it.
And you see, look, I'll let this pass, but it shouldn't pass. Because once you have brought in fakery and you are referring to somebody, I should insist on you showing us this somebody, showing us how that somebody came by the fake, because we are all interested. If it is fake, we should take the government on, that they are misleading us.
Okay, so the central point I'm making is that when state institutions are doing investigations, we should appreciate that the state is different from government. Let the state institutions do the investigation, come to their conclusions, and come and tell us. But if the state institution does the work, and then it's for the government spokesperson to come and say it, you are going to have problems like what I'm citing now, okay, which you are holding me to. Look.
No, and Kofi,
anyway,
you can finish in the next 2 minutes. Unfortunately, because when I have to ask you a question, because you raise a controversial matter, you say I'm interjecting and I'm not helping you. So you finish in the next 2 minutes.
Then I also have my 2 minutes.
No. Look, you came for Galamsey. You don't even have time for Galamsey now. Look at the time. Yes, Kofi.
In the previous government, some MPs were arrested and suggestions were being made that they were MPs and could not be arrested. I said, nobody is above the law.
Certainly.
An MP can be arrested. Ntim Fojo is not above the law. He can be arrested. So to that extent, I still maintain that position. However, the arrest has procedure. And if an MP is arrested, he should submit to the arrest. But he doesn't have to cooperate in any way. If you are going to arrest him to use the proper procedure, I'm not saying that if people come to your house, you should shoot them. But if masked men approached your house and you didn't know what they were about, and you felt that you had to defend yourself and you had licensed firearms, you have a right in law to use it. I think we are messing this matter up. The state should be separate from government. We should all see where the national issues are concerning this thing. I think it's proper to politely ask Reverend Tim Fojo to cooperate with the state agencies.
So that's the point you have made. What's the procedure? What's the procedure for the arrest?
The procedure should be one. Tim Fojo has 3 levels of authority to say what he says as a citizen, as a member of parliament.
No, the procedure of arrest.
The procedure of arrest should be one. Invite him because he is not an ordinary citizen. He has a right to refuse. If he refuses, go to him and bodily hold him and tell him that on this particular charge, we are arresting you, and then take him into custody.
Okay.
But note that he does not have to write anything, he does not have to say anything after 48 hours.
Thank you. So that procedure, you are not sharing the view by some of the MPs that insist that it must at all costs go through the speaker.
Let me be clear on this. The process for arresting an MP, going to parliament, coming from parliament, or all those other things.
Attending at the business.
I think is restricted. It does not cover what a parliamentarian does 24 hours out of a day.
Where you are going.
So to that extent, no MP is above the law. No MP is immune from arrest.
Yes.
But there's a process for it, and let's follow the process.
So all right. If you permit me, if you were still an MP, you pull a gun right now, you shouldn't be arrested.
You should be arrested.
You should write to the speaker.
Going to parliament, you are coming from parliament. I agree.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Save that.
I'm sorry. My time is.
My thinking is that it's because of the convention that has evolved. Okay, relative to how MPs.
When Parliament is in session,
government misbehavior. It's all of that.
Okay.
But see, you made a point about this misprision,
felony. Yeah.
All that. I've checked the law. I know of misprision of treason, not felony.
I'm talking about the general principle of law. Misprision of crime, or call it misprision of felony.
Offenses that
it won't apply here.
Applicable are defined.
It won't apply.
And stated in statute.
Thank you. All right.
Misprision of crime and felony is not applicable in
our
Thank you. Yes, and once again, Kofi, you were insisting on whistleblowing. You are also a whistleblower. Are you saying as a lawyer that if you have to blow whistle, you won't follow the Whistleblowers Act?
No, you have to follow the Whistleblowers Act.
What does the whistleblower say you should do? You should hold a press conference?
You see, again, I said the absence of evidence, you have to choose what is the best way to do it.
No, if you are following the Whistleblowers Act, you don't speak to the media. The media is not one of the groups in the Whistleblowers Act that I've just opened.
I blew the whistle by going on Facebook.
Why?
All right?
But what does the law say you should do? If you say you follow the law, the law says go to specific places. We take a break. We'll be right back.
It's Facebook.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. You're still here on Newsfile. This is your most authoritative news analysis platform. And some people may not be obligated under certain circumstances, but sometimes we feel obligated because we moderate this show and because of what we may also know. So please, when you have to blow the whistle and you want to blow it according to law, the law says if you have to blow the whistle, this is what it says. It says that the disclosure must be made in good faith. The whistleblower has reasonable cause to believe that the information disclosed and an allegation of impropriety contained in it are substantially true, and that the disclosure is made to one or more of the persons or institutions specified under this law. The persons or institutions that are specified under the law do not include going to the press. That's all I can tell you. So be careful. If you are miseducated and you go and do something and get into trouble, the people you can blow the whistle to are
press.
Yes, Facebook is press. Okay. The people you can blow the whistle to are an employer, your employer. You can blow the whistle to your employer quietly. A police officer, the Attorney General, the Auditor General, a staff of the intelligence agencies, a member of Parliament, the Serious Fraud Office, now IOCO, Commission on Human Rights, the National Media Commission, Narcotics Control Board, a chief, head or an elder of your family, head of a recognized religious body, a member of a district assembly, a minister of state, the office of the president, revenue agency, or a district chief executive. Thank you very much. And it also says that if you do it and you do it in bad faith and you are caught, you'll be in trouble. Now, we have to go to Galamsey, and the time is so far spent, but I will have to share with you some of the messages that you have brought in, or we should move on rather, because the time is just run out. Okay, so let me just proceed to the Galamsey matters. So on the part of the Galamsey issues, Senor, you and your group, you are very angry to hear the Interior Minister say that, okay, so before I even say that, information from the security agencies is that they say that, please, the Reverend was first given the opportunity to come quietly. He refused to come. And then says, the NIB is not keeping any police. On this occasion, the IGP was called to assist with the officers. So they are saying that they don't keep police anymore.
So those police officers, why were they not uniformed?
Okay, so
identified?
So, Senor, why are you so livid? The minister says we want to deport them rather than take them through a trial if foreigners are arrested, particularly Chinese. Why are you so?
I didn't know that we have an arrangement with China that when they arrest our people, they send our people back to us, and vice versa. Go and catch somebody in Thailand holding drugs. Or is it Thailand? Yes. Those who send you, who should come and kill them. We don't do this. The law, the Mining Act, is very, very clear. And so this is the Minerals and Mining Act 2006, as amended. It says this, that a non-Ghanaian that's three, a non-Ghanaian who undertakes a mining operation or facilitates the participation of any person in mining, contrary to a provision of this act, commits an offense and is liable on a conviction to a fine of not less than 100,000 penalty units and not more than 350,000 penalty units. B, a term of imprisonment of not less than 24 years and not more than 25 years, or both the fine and the imprisonment. Where a non-Ghanaian who is liable on summary conviction under subsection 3 is a person liable to deportation under section 35 of the Immigration Act 2000, Act 573, that non-Ghanaian shall, where sentenced to a term of imprisonment, serve the full sentence before deportation in accordance with subsection 3 of section 37 of Act 573. The law is unambiguous on this particular matter. As a country, we must have dignity. We have to have self-value. What do we mean by trying to say we'll just deport you? Come, loot, and destroy our environment to the extent that you can. If you are caught, it means that if you breach the 11th commandment, which is thou shalt not be caught, and you are caught, you just go back and continue your life, or your government will decide how it wants to deal with you. That's not the rule of law in our country. We must be a government of dignity, a government of responsibility, and also a government of rule of law. So this conduct is just unacceptable.
It's
rather going to promote.
The prisons are full.
If the prisons are full, what we should do is to reform our laws. We can't be keeping people in prison for stealing chicken and allowing politicians, civil servants, and businessmen who loot millions of the state's money rather walking around. They should go and remove those people. That's how you solve that problem. The seriousness of Galamsey is seemingly getting.
They say
lost.
your prisons are congested. Your prisoners are fed on 1 cedi, 80 pesos a day.
Decongest the prisons. You can't be keeping people in jail for stealing goat. In Ghana, when you steal goat, you're a thief. When you steal big money, we call it corruption. We can't continue that way. The seriousness of Galamsey and its impact on the environment and society and the future of our children and children's children is no mean joke. For which reason, we must be optimal about the punitive measures that we put in place to safeguard and deter people from participating in Galamsey. This action will not help us deal with the matter. It is illegal, and I just pray that the minister gets properly advised. We started, I beg you, since it's Galamsey, I know it's my matter, I beg you.
Yeah, but our time.
The NDC, when they were in opposition, I was part of those leading the charge on the Galamsey fight. We called out the president, and for which reason I said the president is practically the former president, probably the worst president we've ever had, because of Galamsey. They joined us. They talked about repealing the LI. They talked about the state of emergency. They've been in office. And I'm just waiting for that 120 days to come to an end. Mr. President, you must live by your word. You cannot speak poetry in opposition and come and act prose when you are president. We expect a lot more from you in this fight. It's not about you, it's not about your tenure, it's about the future of our children and our children's children. And we expect you to hold the bull by the horn and act and deal with this matter decisively. We can't continue this way.
Thank you. Susan.
Well, I mean, I listened in horror to the deputy minister of Humanitarian. I was like, really? I mean, is he serious?
It's a burden. We can't feed them. We don't even have place for them.
Pardon my this thing, but it's for want of a better word, it's applesauce. I mean, complete applesauce. Look, if the prisons are good for Ghanaians, they are good for any other human beings. Are Ghanaians less? Are they subhuman? If you think your prisons are not good enough for other people, then they are not good enough for Ghanaians. And then we must go and then reform and do some, restructuring, whatever, to our prison service. Look, as long as we are throwing in plantain thieves who are stealing because they are hungry, you understand? There's a corruption that arises out of need and that out of greed. We are letting the one out, like Senor said, the one out of greed, we are letting go. And the one out of need, we are throwing them in jail for years. There are people who stole a bunch of plantain and have been in remand for years, not months or years. You understand? We community service, nothing. We don't do any community service. The small community service, you see them once or twice with their prison service people. Even the prison service people look sad. You understand? Because they have also virtually business with these people.
There's a community service bill. It has actually not been passed yet.
Oh yeah. And we have MPs going around talking about things that anyway. Okay. But the
opposition only last year said so many things. I never hear you complain about it.
Well, who? Me? Are you talking about?
Yes, I'm talking about you.
Oh, really? Nobody gave me the opportunity to complain about it because I don't know what you're talking about.
Plenty things. James them were in opposition. The kinds of things that they said.
You see, that is not.
So you have an issue with MPs talking about aircraft that have come into our country.
We have issues. We have issues with MPs. Cuts across. You understand? I mean, right now we have issue with our interior minister saying that they are going to deport people when we know that it is against, one, it is against the law, two, it doesn't even make sense. The Chinese ambassador has been known to say that if Chinese people are found to be doing illegal things, chill them.
Exactly.
So who are we trying to please?
On that note, on that note, hold on. This show is brought to you by the candid sponsorship of Bank of Africa, strong as a group and close as a partner, MTN. Everywhere you go. Ashesi University, educating ethical and entrepreneurial leaders for Africa. Robert & Sons Optical Services, your comprehensive eye care service provider for 33 plus years. My Way Insurance. Dial *165# on MTN to join My Way today. DBS Industries, roofing Papa Fie. Flamingo Paints, simply superior. Syntex tanks, it's strong, it's tough. Activa International Insurance. Our clients are passion. And my outfit is by Konati Clothing. You can call them 0244 676732. 0244 676732. Thank you. Yes, I think I should hear Kofi. Yeah. We have just like a minute to go.
Yeah, let me make my point.
Is it not fair that the government person,
let me make my point.
They should hear to justify their thing?
Make my point. The president will not repeal that law. If he will, he would have done it already. There's a whole new set of people doing Galamsey with new equipment. Forget about it. Galamsey is funding politicians and funding big people in this country. He won't repeal it.
He has to.
Okay, yes, what do you say? 1 minute. 1 minute.
The president won't repeal that.
But he's amending it. We have been asking him to repeal rather than amend.
He agreed to repeal it. He must repeal it.
He must repeal it.
He must repeal it.
That's why he must repeal it.
He said he will remove e-levy. He has removed e-levy.
Speak, it's a minute. It's almost gone.
He said he will take away COVID.
Sorry.
It's not COVID.
Sorry. Let's hear him speak.
Some Chinese were
when did they take it out? It's there. It's still there.
Under Section 21 of the Immigration Act 2000, which allows for repatriation, especially when the very existence of the people involved in this country is unlawful. Now, there is the issue of evidence. If people are rounded up at Tema and suspected to have engaged in acts of Galamsey, sometimes getting evidence, prosecutable evidence.
One second, everyone. James, 1 second. Dr. Issa Imoro, Mampusi opinion leader, has sent a message and saying that Susan made certain comments that he feels have maligned untruth and have maligned the Mampusis when she spoke about the fact that Mampusis get starved and then as a result they go to the Kusasi market to scuffle for food, and that this is unfair to them, this is unwarranted, and they want that to be put on record. They actually say that you should retract and apologize for that because that's not correct.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I will say what is that, you know, it was a tool of weapon. It's a weapon that is being used by the Kusasis, and if people feel that the other side actually feel that it's not, I have no problems withdrawing.
Thank you very much. James, some 30 seconds.
So to conclude.
Our time is up.
Our time is up. When you arrest and you don't have prosecutable evidence, you waste everybody's time and resources. There is an instance where over 600 people were arrested. It took them so many years to prosecute. You know what, something? They ended up convicting only 11. Because they didn't have sufficient evidence. If you round up people,
change the law.
And change the law. You don't have the law.
Imprison them.
Is it not better to repatriate? But that was an ad hoc measure.
Thank you. My guests have been Susan Edua Mankwa, Executive Secretary, National Interest Movement. We earlier spoke to Akamugri Donatus Atanga, who is Upper East Regional Minister. Andrew Ejapa Mesa is former MP, Sekondi constituency, and former Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture. He had been at the Ministry of Energy. Senyor Hosi is Economic Policy Analyst and member, One Ghana Movement, also member of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. Kofi Bento, Senior Vice President, Imani Africa. Who is not happy with me today? James Sagalga is Chairman, Defense and Interior Committee. of Parliament. Thank you all very much. Have a good afternoon.